I want to talk about something that I've talked about for a long time, and it's regarding the announcement that took place of the NWO. You know what that is, that order. They announced it during the WEF, that big forum that takes place every single year in Davos, Switzerland, near CERN, the same nation that has CERN. And they do rituals, they did everything, they did all that. They do that at CERN. They did the ceremony where everyone went there, and then they create these bills and these laws in place that everyone has to follow. And you see this digital implementation taking place. You see that one world order taking place. There are three buildings that have been built in the Middle East that represent the three different major Abrahamic beliefs, and they are trying to bring those together under one, and the Pope talked with them just like they did during Obama. And I honestly, I've talked about it for many years. And when I talked about it, they would take me down, ban me, flag me, remove me, ban me for a while, and then let me back. Or they would tell me that I was sharing disinformation or misinformation. But this is no longer CTs anymore. You can't deny it. You can't say we're lying, because what we said was happening. And I even wrote an article about it in high school back in 2011. I also wrote one in 2009, and I said that these things were coming, and I said I saw the things putting into place, the things that were being implemented into place that were leading toward it. And one of my teachers said, "You have a very major interest in this type of thing." And I said, yes, it's something, journalism is what she stated. And I said, it's something that fascinates me, the Middle East and all the situations, how it interconnects, as well as at that time, the country of the bear, was going to take on Ukraine. And I said, that is a key place to sustain the SU, that union, the Soviet Union. But if you look, and all of this being done, all of these things being implemented, and I talked about how, hey, look, they're throwing this food away. They're wasting this milk. They're destroying these eggs. They're destroying the crops. And guess what they did for many years in a row? They said they paid the farmers millions of dollars to waste the crops. And I seen it. I wondered, and my parents and I both said, why are they wasting all the crops? And the farmers said, I don't know. They claim they have an excess food supply. They claimed they had excess food supplies. And they said, destroy the crops. So the farmers got paid. And if you get paid that much money, you're going to do what they say, right? I guess. Most farmers said, fine, whatever. And they let their crops go year after year. Beautiful, plentiful rain we had that year that it was perfect for the corn crops. Now, some out in the Midwest, they got flooded after all that. But for years, beautiful crops took place, and they were told to destroy them. Then this GeoEng and weather mod takes place still, again, and they start messing with it. After that, they tell them, oh, weather's ruined our crops. And it has. And it did. But it was because of GeoEng, weather mod, in my opinion. And you see these trails. There were a lot of them today. And I took several pictures. And at first they told us, oh, you got a little bit of chance of rain. Now those trails happened. Oh my goodness, now we're going to get lots and lots of rain and multiple storm systems moving through the country. Back after back after back, round after round after round after round. After those trails were seen. There's no coincidence. None of it is. But when we see it, I see it. We've been labeled CTs for years. And then suddenly, what the CT said turned out to be true. But how are you going to get the truth out there if you keep getting removed? Anyway, and years ago they told the farmers to destroy their crops, and they did. They just said, oh, we have an overabundance, destroy it. And they did. Worldwide, they were destroying it. Then later they put bills in place restricting the farmers and shutting down farms and telling them, you've got to do this or else. And then they caused the farmers to protest. Well, that caused more crop shortages. Then inflation goes up and no one can afford anything. Then the starts, and people can't, and they tell them to get their after that. If you don't get the, then you're out of a job, and You can't make any cha-ching, cha-ching, so you can't live. So then that causes more rising inflation. Then the debt ceiling's raised again. Debt ceiling's raised again. But at the same time, bring more people into the United States. Bring them in here. Come on, bring them in. Bring them on in here. We can't afford to take care of our own people, but bring them on in here. Don't check them, though. Check anyone leaving or check anyone moving across states. You can't leave your homes. You can't go to the store. You can only buy 1 can of beans, and you got to follow in a line. You got to follow the rules. Can't go and enter a building if you have so-and-so. But bring people on across the border without checking them, without vetting them, without seeing if they have their or their rhymes with packs. You know, it rhymes with packs. They didn't check them. And then it spreads more. And then more illness, more problems, more. And then, oh, we got to shut it down again. But we have no money. No one's working. And those that didn't get the are being fired. You're fired. Fired. And then people are fed up with it and they start quitting their jobs. And then there's a worker shortage. So then they claim that, well, then there's a coin shortage and then the money shortage again. And then they said, here, go digital. And then they did a poll showing, oh, digital payments are rising. Of course they are. That's what they were forcing people to do. But they did the poll when the payments like that were rising. Now, we all use both. We've all done other methods, but a payment. But, well, not all of us, but the thing is, it's just, you see it. And then it's forced implementation of these things. And then that global system they're working on, then they say that we are in a shortage, and the trucker shortage, and then the fuel shortage, and then there were gas pipeline bursts, and then gas outages, and fuel shortage, another crisis, and then people bought a bunch of gas because they had no gas, and then the diesel shortage, and all these things happened one after another, and then people didn't have a job because they didn't take the you-know-what, and then after they said, well, we'll have you back, and they said, well, no, forget it. And then they're saying that, well, you got to work, but we're going to pay you. Then they're saying, well, okay, some people don't have to work, but we'll pay you anyway. So then that was more money given for just like crazy. And then they put out those CCs, those stimuli, and that was great. Yeah, that was helpful. But I mean, the thing is, I wish I could have gotten mine. They only gave me one. They didn't even give me the others. They didn't give me any of the others. They told us, the IRS said, as a result, we don't owe you anything. We checked it, and we don't owe you anything, and you don't owe us anything. So don't ask anything else. They kind of sent a threat, almost, really, for me asking for any other. They made modifications to the return, saying we owe you nothing, and you don't owe us anything as a result. It's like a threat. But yet they can rob us blind, all of us. The government can. And then they allow more people, and more people, and more people come over here, and more people, and it causes problems like crazy. And then I see them driving in vehicles that we can't even afford, and they're giving it to them, and they're spending money on foreign nations and it's been implemented for many years, folks. They're spending more than they even have. We're already trillions of dollars in debt. They raised the debt ceiling for the last time, and the energy crisis, energy, and then they suddenly tell people to stop all energy. Stop all of this type of energy or that type of energy. And they're like, wait, we're not ready. Even Elon himself said, hey, we're not ready for this. We can't do this yet. And they're saying, yep, we've got to go through with it, which is causing even more worker shortages and power outages. And then it causes network issues, distribution, power supply issues to places, power surges. It's causing electrical grid issues now. And then they want to change the grid too quicker than we can fix it, and that then causes more crises. So we have an energy crisis, and now they've raised the debt ceiling as far as it can go. They say they can't do it again, and they say otherwise we'll have to just default on the debt, and we'll have to join other countries, and we're going to have to join the NWO. We'd have to do that, and we have no choice but to join or fall. But they've already begun, like it says here, they've closed 3,000 farms just over the years, and Gates and Schwab and Soros and all them, they're buying up the farmland. They created a food shortage, And then they claimed that because of the trucker strike, and then they claimed because of the supply demand issue, and they're not even stocking the shelves most of the time in the stores. They're finally just getting back to stocking the shelves, and they're claiming another crisis on the way. They're like, this one went away, now let's bring in bird flu. Now the avian flu is spreading across our state, and they said something that's not quite COVID, not quite flu is spreading around. And they said, then they create an energy crisis, and then they're bankrupting us slowly. Then they create, a cybersecurity meeting over at the UN and over in Davos, Switzerland, and they have their WEF meeting for about an energy crisis, and the next thing they say is we need to be prepared for a cyber attack. And then what happens that very, very week? 2 days after I made a video about it, guess what happened? Bank of America and other banks went down that entire day. People couldn't withdraw money. Their bank accounts were screwed up. They were messed up. The digital system messed up. Then they said, Elon was promoting cryptocurrency, and they said that it can't be trusted, but if we don't see a sign that there's any problem with blockchain ledgers and cryptocurrency, people investing in that, and we don't